Ted, are you drinking wine?
Yeah.
What are you drinking?
Shiraz.
Red wine in
Shiraz.
100-degree weather.
Red wine in the 100-degree weather. Ted style.
Yep. I know. Everyone was like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, I don't know.
I don't know.
To be fair, it was a
I don't
$3
know
bottle
anymore.
of wine, so.
Ew. Tastes pretty good?
Not even $2
Jake,
Chuck.
I have seen you drink many hams. I've seen you drink a Paps.
You drink a ham?
I have drunk hams before. Ted's seen me drink a lot of shit.
Yeah, I don't know who you are to call me out on a $3 bottle of wine.
I think I've told you about the Kirkland light beer.
Oh yeah.
Light beer.
So
light's great.
So James, in college, I think I've told Ted this when I lived with him, but we had this thing we'd called the Costco combo, and it was a mixed drink that we had, basically like a jungle juice that we would make. And it was, we took a cooler, a straight just cooler, capped it so it couldn't leak. We would pour 130 rack full of this Kirkland light beer, like their equivalent to Coors Light. No, sorry, it was a 40 rack. Yeah, 40 rack of it all in there. Then you take 3 of those pink lemonade concentrates that are just like pure sugar, dump those in there, like, you know what I'm talking, like those frozen things. Dump those in there, and then you would take 2 bottles of whatever alcohol you had, vodka, whiskey, rum, it didn't matter. You'd pour those in, you'd stir it together like a witch's brew, and that's what you would drink. And
I'm sorry, what was the second ingredient?
Oh, the frozen concentrate pink lemonades. So you have 3 of those.
That sounds awful.
Because it would just cover up the taste.
That sounds...
Yeah, but
So
it's just
you
like,
were
what's the
basically
fucking
just-
point of the beer, though, at that point? Because
that
just do vodka and...
The beer breaks up the concentrate and is like the water that you'd put into the... But it's alcohol.
You know,
I guess it is the water.
I would try it.
Oh, it's good, Ted. You didn't even know you were getting fucked up. And then you'd be like, you'd finish a cup and be like...
How come you've never made this the entire time we've known you?
Well,
We can make it. I think because we were we had money.
We made
Yeah.
it. We made... Remember the My Ritual?
Yeah.
Is that still around, Ted?
Oh, yeah, I
No,
had that.
Maddie and I were just talking about this. It is not. There was definitely enough for 1 or 2 more shots, but after we moved out of the land park house, nobody knows what happened to it.
It was on our shelf for a little bit with like 1 shot, and then it just like kind of disappeared. And,
Probably
Yeah.
died.
Yeah, probably died.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome back to the Sidescape Gaming Podcast, episode 107. I'm your host, Jake Burke, and joined as always by James St. Charles and Ted Trucker Hat Libby. James, we talked about Ted. We talked about his alcohol consumption. Are you drinking
Yeah.
anything? What are you doing right now?
I'm drinking once a week.
Oh, okay. What are we drinking right now? What's the cocktail of choice?
I'm only doing... I'm no beer.
Okay.
Can't handle the carbs. Rum though. Rum's on the table. No
Oh,
carbs.
okay. No carbs
Yep.
and rum, really?
Yeah, rum and a 0 sugar soda.
Okay.
That works
So you were doing basically like rum and Cokes constantly with Coke Zero.
basically.
All right.
Yeah, it's not bad. You know, I'm not too much of a fan of diet, but 0 sugar, although it has the aspartame, it's not too bad.
So you're drinking in Vegas, these Coke Zero rum and Cokes?
I'll drink whatever in Vegas.
Yeah, that's what I like to
maybe
hear.
Maybe not too
No.
much beer though.
He's drinking a Red
do the
Bull
hard
Zero.
drinks.
Just Red Bull Zero.
Red Bull
Red
Zero.
Bull Zero and
Oh,
vodka.
Enough of
I'll
that
do
failed
those.
joke from Ted, because this is the
Truly.
107th episode of the Sidescape Gaming Podcast, where every Monday morning a new episode goes live on youtube.com, and that's it, because Ted has failed us yet again another week, and Ted is still just not committing to this. He took this thing upon his shoulders. He said, guys, I will handle the audio. He looked at James and he said, by hook or by crook, I got
Like,
this
I'll take
shit.
that action item.
Yep.
I'll note it down.
I'll note it down.
Actually, I said, pay me.
And then Ted
Now we
said,
need to...
too hard.
I said, pay me. And then everyone said, no way, I'm
No.
not doing that. I'm not
Because
giving
once
you
a
money.
week, we Discord over 500 miles, talk about a gaming-related topic and what games we are playing. This week, we are talking about The Last of Us Part 1, the remake on PS5. I have basically beaten this game. I'm like 30 minutes away. And after I finish this podcast with you scrubs, I'm going
You'll
right
be
back to that hospital. So, we're going to talk about The Last of Us Part 1. Obviously, James, you know this about me.
Mm-hmm.
I love The Last of Us.
I
So-
love Last of Us too.
I'm gonna be very high on this. Have you played the remake? Have you even thought about playing the remake?
You know what? Yesterday was the update. I told you I was gonna wait until the 1440p
Yeah.
update. It came out yesterday, so
Oh.
now I think I will play it this weekend
Okay.
and have myself a good old time.
I love to hear that. Ted, have you
Yes.
played The Last of Us ever?
I played the multiplayer.
Oh, you
Hey,
played
Ted,
Fractions.
I got a copy of Last of Us for the PS4 if you want to play it,
Oh, do it, Ted.
but it's not the remake.
We'll talk about that.
It is the PS4 remake.
Yeah, technically it's a remake.
It's a
No,
remaster.
It's good.
I believe it's a
remaster.
remaster.
Yeah.
No, I played the a roommate of mine, a pseudo roommate. He lived on our couch. Had it for the PlayStation 3. He didn't have a PlayStation 3, but he had a copy of The Last of Us, and he liked playing the multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
So I played the multiplayer.
The multiplayer was good. Factions was good. It was so good they're making an entirely bigger open world multiplayer.
I mean, we genuinely had a lot of fun. It was a good third-person shooter game.
Yeah.
In a multiplayer. Yeah.
It's a great multiplayer stealth game. Unfortunately, Last of Us Part 1 does not have factions on it at all. So The Last of Us Part 1, for people that don't know, is a remake, a full remake of The Last of Us 1 on PS3 from 2013. It's a full remake built in The Last of Us 2 engine for PS5, only PS5. PC is to come, they have said sometime soon, so my guess is probably early next year when the show comes out. This is really made because there is a TV show coming out for The Last of Us, and they wanted to remake the game, so when people went, ooh, I want to play this video game, they're not trying to find a PS3 version of this game or the PS4 remaster. The game is entirely built from the ground up. It has enhanced like visuals, gameplay, haptic feedback in the DualSense controller. It's got the same, all of the audio stuff is the same. All of the scenes are the same, except for that they are in the updated engine that has a lot more facial animations for the cutscenes, which in The Last of Us is super important. And overall, the UI and the HUD and everything matches The Last of Us Part 2's UI. So they've basically redone all of that. They've also added in a lot of just like the fun little kind of things that Part 2 had, which is like when you go to a workbench, you, instead of just like pressing a button and your gun is upgraded, it shows you like upgrading the gun like it did in Part 2. So they've added all of that into this game. My overall review of The Last of Us Part 1, guys, is, man, they remade the best video game of all time, and it's still the best video game of all time. I'm very biased in that opinion, but it's just awesome. I was talking to James about this. We played up over the weekend, and James was like, how are you liking it? I was like, I'm really liking it, but I've played The Last of Us, the first game, so many times, I have to like stop and like visually like look around and be like, oh right, it is different. Like this is remade, like, because I'm just like running through this game like I have. So I've noticed a lot of like the bigger changes where I think I need to take time to notice the small ones. But man, it looks phenomenal. It's insane. Joel is just like so expressive in his face in every cutscene and every moment. It's incredible what Naughty Dog is able to do is on a whole other level than what any other studio is doing with like cinematics and games and storytelling. So it's still fantastic. We're going to have this conversation of should this be remade, but I don't want to have that yet. What are some of your guys' questions about just Last of Us Part 1 in general before talking about should this game cost $70 and is it too early? Have you guys thought about it?
It's going to be a tough one for you because you're biased. Actually, my question to you may have just been, do you think, I was going to say, was it worth it? But I guess that's kind of what we're leading up into. We're
going to talk about that in a minute because it's a very different question. I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer to that question.
Right.
But we'll talk about, I don't want that to be the focus of us just talking about the game in general.
Do we know if it, I guess it's pretty early. Do we know if it sold well or does it matter?
I don't think it matters because I don't think this game is
this is just here to be on store shelves.
Longevity wise sell well.
Ted, fundamentally, this game exists only on the fact that Pedro Pascal is in a show next year.
Yeah.
And also Naughty Dog every generation, except for they made Jack and Daxter for PS3. They've remade a game to test out PlayStation's hardware. So the first game that was ever released on PS4 was The Last of Us Remaster, and that's so they can learn the infrastructure of the system. They did the same thing now with Last of Us Part 1, and they're learning how to use the PS5. This is the best game looking on PS5 by a mile.
Wow.
Like I think Returnal sometimes comes close in some stuff, but man, like the textures on like the walls and like just brick with like the overgrown moss and trees, it just looks so beautiful. Like really only compared to The Last of Us Part 2. But now we're in 4K 60 frames realm. There's a performance and fidelity mode. I played half the game at 60 frames, and then I played the second half at 4K at 30 frames. And I actually felt like the 4K 30 frames was better for me because I'm used to the game in 30 frames anyways. So it just looked better. But
do you have to make that choice?
No, you can switch it on and off at any time. It doesn't.
Is there a 4K 60?
No.
Okay.
That would be really hard, even just like on PC hardware.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Especially just like what they're doing with the textures and everything. It's just kind of mind blowing, and how a gun looks and light. Well, the lighting in this game is also just like stand out. Wow. I mean, just you really do feel like it was rebuilt from the ground up, like fully. Sorry, James, what were you gonna say?
No, yeah, I'm just curious because you brought up 4K. I was like wondering how it will look with 2K. If I could do 2K 60, if that's a thing, because I know with 1440p compatibility, it wasn't a standard, and now they just brought it. But I know some things aren't compatible because I'm guessing a lot of the older stuff that was just ported over probably isn't compatible.
I know The Last of Us Part 1 is because it's like the trailer for 1440p is involving this game. So.
Yeah. So I think that's why it should be good. I think one question I had was what are your thoughts on the price tag for this game?
Yeah, so this is the big conversation topic. It's $70. That's a lot for a game that came out in 2013. This game is not meant for people that have played The Last of Us Part 1 and don't want to play it again. Like, this game is meant for people like me that it's like their favorite thing, and I'll pay $100 to play The Last of Us again in a different engine. At this point, it's just awesome. And this game is meant for people next year that are now getting into, oh man, this show on HBO is pretty good. It's based on a video game. I'll try it out.
Yeah.
And then, I'll spend $70 because it's what video games cost now. It's not meant for I don't think it's meant for the hardcore gamer like us to compete for game of the year and to like, it's not meant for that audience. It's meant for an audience of like kind of the more casual, like gamers or the hardcore Last of Us fans that of course we're going to pay $70 for.
Morons.
Yeah. Yeah. Me.
No.
No. I'll take it.
I think you're totally right. This is here to scoop up people who bought a PlayStation 5 because they were told a PlayStation 4 was great.
Yep.
And they don't know what to do, and they just buy, what's that figure that still goes around every once in a while where like 99% of or 90% of gamers just buy 4 games a year and 2 of them are sports games.
Yep. This
fills one of those gaps of just like, it's here and it looks great.
Yeah, I think so too.
And there's a show about it.
I think the 70 price tag is very steep. I think it's, in my opinion, it's kind of shocking that that's the route that they kind of chose to do. It's like, we're going to make you spend, this is a brand new full game. But it is. I mean, this game, and also just a thing that for me as a big fan, this game has, is it has like a bunch of extras in it. And like, basically you can watch like all the documentaries that are based on like The Last of Us. Also the DLC Left Behind is fully remade in this as well from Part 1. It's got like documentaries that you can watch through the game. It's got like a model viewer. It's got concept art. It's got like just a ton of extras, director commentary and stuff like that. Yeah,
classic remake.
Yeah.
So
like it really feels like a package of celebration about what this game also was at the time, and now we've remade it to modern times. What do you feel about
modern times?
Modern times, yeah.
Not like that ancient 2013.
No, right, yeah. Well, that is the thing too. Like, it's only a 9-year-old game, and we've already gotten 2 different versions of it after it came out.
I'm super conflicted about that because on the one hand, it's 9 years old.
Yeah.
Like, and sidebar to my own point, but would you go back and play The Last of Us Part 1, I guess, or The Last of Us on a PlayStation 3 just for funsies, or would it be too rough? Because games get old, like that's just a fact.
So they didn't really change the gameplay per se of this game. Like this game's gameplay is essentially what it was at the time. It's definitely cleaned up and definitely like in The Last of Us combat in
but more region. Could you handle 2013 PlayStation 3 graphics?
I probably wouldn't. I would play it on the PS4. I would buy the remastered version. However, I believe that like if someone has never played The Last of Us now, this is the version I would recommend.
Well, of course.
I like this. I think is the definitive version of The Last of Us. But like 2 years ago when Part 2 came out, before that I played The Last of Us 1 again, all on PS4, the PS4 version, and it was, fine. Also, PS3s are fucking hard to find. Like PS3s.
No, yeah, no. Like, take the realism out of it. I was just like, because there are some there are a lot of games that from the 90s that people are like, oh, you should play, and like you sit down and it's like, all right, now press the K and L buttons on your keyboard, and I'm like, nope, can't do it.
Yeah.
Love to try, but like at some point we've just aged too far past this.
Mhm.
Give me a remake where you do normal controls. I can play with a controller.
It's like
Just
any game
kind of-
with tank controls now, right? Like you're
yeah,
like, I'm not
that
gonna try this.
that natural kind of quality of life that video games have over
Yeah.
the years. I don't think we've hit that point with PlayStation 3 games where it's like, oh, I can't go back to that. Give me a new one.
No, I think fundamentally the gameplay is pretty similar. I mean, I
Yeah.
graphically it's obviously a huge improvement, but like the gameplay fundamentally is like pretty much the same. Like I have not noticed a difference besides like some Ellie stuff. Ellie, there's spoilers for Last of Us. You do play as Ellie at some points in the game. Sorry to spoil it, Ted. Sorry.
Okay.
But like Ellie is
I don't know
reworked
who Ellie
to
is.
feel like Ellie of Part 2. So like her combat stuff is much different than how it used to be. They use a lot of the animations from Part 2, but like it's not like I mean you could play Last of Us on PS3 and not like feel a tremendous difference to what it is now.
Right.
Yeah.
Trying to think. I was having this thought about this kind of in defense of it. Do you think that we have hit a point with game graphics? Oh, sorry if you guys heard that. If you hit a point with game graphics where we've hit that uncanny valley where like things from earlier and earlier ago, it passed in time, like 2013, is now just weird enough to where you're like, give me that little bit of extra kick. I don't know if you're getting my point, but like, do you think we need to do? Are you going to start seeing more and more remakes because games from 2 years ago just aren't quite hitting?
I don't think 2 years. I think, but there is like we've talked about this on previous shows. Like one problem with the games industry is that like stuff gets outdated to a point like you can't play it. Like you were just saying, like tank controls. Thank God they remade Resident Evil 2 without tank controls. Mm-hmm. Like that made a game that James and I would never have played. One of our great like we love that game. So I think like updating controls and how stuff feels is huge for video games and making it easy to play. Graphic wise, it's hard to say because like I remember playing Last of Us in 2013 and being like, holy shit, games cannot look better. Like they've done it.
Yeah.
It looks so real. And now like here we are at 2022 and it looks so much better than it did ever. And like so where are we going to be in another 9 years, right? Like when we remake The Last of Us again.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time with like games where it's just like, damn, this looked way better when I was a kid, but looking back, it's like, oh man, that's trash. But it's because you have something relatively new to compare it to. There's one studio that I really like that I think we always see their trailers at like Game Awards or E3, and that's New Blood. And they make Ultra Kill and like Dusk and these games that are basically old, but they're new, if that makes sense. Like they're old graphics, but they look new. And they just came out with another early access game called Gloomwood, and it's basically a remake of Thief.
Oh,
the original Thief, which is just super outdated. There's no way you can play it, and the controls suck probably. But it's modern controls with not as crisp graphics, but it plays HD. And I always think there's definitely a market there for taking an old game, keeping the old graphics, but like just making them a little bit sharper in HD, and then updating the controls. That's all you have to do. You can preserve the entire game in terms of voices, play structure, level structure, all of that can be the same. It's just the controls are what I bet a lot of people feel are outdated.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, controls and accessibility is like how
accessibility as well. Yeah.
Like Metal Gear Solid is a franchise. Now we're just going to a whole different area, but like Metal Gear Solid is a franchise. Like I want to play the first 4 Metal Gear Solid games. It is unreasonably hard to find out how to play like legally without torrenting and stuff. Like
you can
to play Metal Gear Solid 1 through 4. Metal Gear Solid 4 is only available on PS3, I believe.
Yeah, 1 through 3, I believe, are on PC through GOG through GOG. But
so they were.
Oh,
2 and 3 have been taken off since then because they no longer own the rights to certain videos and stuff in the games. They're working on that shit.
So that's a Konami issue basically.
Yeah. But like anyway, but I know what you're saying, Ted.
Yeah, and just that nightmare.
Yeah,
seems I wonder if the future of first party like PlayStation is going to be we have our sights set on new games coming out soon, but then we also have entire development teams dedicated to pulling the rest of our catalog forward with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because and maybe this is marketed or like researched and we just don't know that like people don't play yesterday's games. It's just, like
Well,
your average consumer doesn't play
Old
yesterday's
game is
games.
old. Yeah. It's
So
like,
but they do though, Ted. Like, because they bought all these studios that do porting, and they're playing yesterday's game, which is Spider-Man just came out on PC, and it's like blown the charts on Steam in terms
right.
of people are playing it. That
But
is
like
yesterday's game.
but like so does that mean there won't be a Spider-Man remake in 7 years?
I
There will
don't
be probably.
I don't think with modern, like where we are now, I don't think you're gonna see an obscene, well, fucking who knows at this point, but like
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna see an obscene amount of remakes of like Spider-Man, God of War, Ragnarok. Like I don't think those games are gonna be remade because they're so modern and like this is just my opinion. I'm probably very wrong about this, and we're gonna be
Well,
probably,
it's just your point about playing The Last of Us in 2013 and going, "This is it, we're good."
I guess you're
But
right. You know, right?
but maybe
Yeah.
in 9 years, maybe in 10 years, who
Yeah.
knows? Like that's the thing. This is it's not like a 9-year jump from
Yeah,
for
and
Last of Us,
also
but
Yeah.
I guess we should keep in mind that games from 30 years ago, like they made a game and then they were done with it and they stuck that shit on a hard drive and kept it in a closet.
Yeah.
Like a lot of games from yonder are like
Gone.
genuinely difficult to remake.
And
there's
some
a
of them
lot
are
of-
just gone. Like you can't
Yeah.
find
Yeah,
some.
yeah,
of
yeah.
them,
Yeah,
you know?
some
Like,
games
but
are
some of them deserve to be gone. To be fair,
well,
but
yeah, yeah.
But
Well, that's
in
not
terms of the
no,
good stuff, though, that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we're just playing that. That's a
Yeah.
pretty faithful,
that's
kind of
that's
remake.
more of a recreation. But like my point is that with The Last of Us, like Sony at the time knew, or Naughty Dog, I guess, at the time knew to keep their files.
hmm
Everything was ready to go. Like when Sony said, "Hey, can we remake it?" They were like, "Absolutely, we have all the tools right here."
Yeah.
Like we've gotten a lot smarter with that kind of stuff.
Yes.
When a company like goes out of business or like it's bought, like those assets come with it. It's not just lost
Yes.
in
That's
some
just
dev
put
who
in a
got
storage
fired.
unit.
Yeah, like you hear stories of older games that get remade of like the dev just had this in his closet, and when we asked him, he said yes, we could borrow it. Like that's how games used to be remade. But now that we have like a infrastructure, we have a system to do it. I'm wondering, like, is this the future of like, hey, if you didn't play God of War, a few years
2018,
ago, don't worry about it. In 3 years, there will be a brand new version on the PS5 for you.
Yeah.
I think the only exception to that is Nintendo, because fuck Nintendo.
Yeah, they'll never do it.
All right, continue on.
Continue on.
That's
I
whole
think
different bag of words.
also PS3 games in particular, just because the history of the PS3 and like the cell processor and like they made that shit really hard to develop for.
It's a Linux machine.
It is a Linux machine, and I got money on that because of it. I was part of a class action lawsuit.
Yeah.
Like I think it being PS3, it being also like The Last of Us in particular is becoming like their franchise. Like it's becoming the staple of like their quality franchise kind of thing. And I think they want everything now to be modernized for this franchise. I don't think like they're not going to remake Uncharted 1 the way that they made The Last of Us remake, like
Right.
I don't think you're seeing that trajectory of like every game, but like games that have this marketing push, absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna say what would, and it couldn't be Naughty Dog because they're busy with The Last of Us.
Yeah.
But like I wonder what other, and maybe we can just branch this out
Yeah, let's
beyond
do it.
PlayStation.
Yeah,
What's
we
the
can totally.
next? What's the next remake? Not because this is a lost gem that the people have asked for, but another remake simply because we need to keep our franchises strong.
Right.
Like, do you think anything off the top of your head of like this will probably get remade?
Well, for
And
me,
not re-inspired or a sequel,
Yeah,
but I mean
yeah.
like
a full James, what were you thinking? You had to answer the top.
Well, I can't. No, I was just thinking Halo 3 remake, but the Master Chief Collection is basically a faithful remake, so I can't
Yeah.
really.
They basically
Yeah,
made those
and
somewhat.
Yeah.
right. And I was thinking like a Microsoft product, but like Microsoft seems to be transitioning into, hey, here's the stuff you remember from a kid, from your childhood, and like here is a product that will never die, like just Forza Motorsport.
Yeah.
There's no need to remake Forza 3 because we just have Forza Motorsport.
Right. I was really surprised we didn't get remakes of Zelda games. Especially
We were talking
like
about this.
2 years
Yeah,
ago.
about like our predictions. Remember?
I really thought like because they remade Wind Waker for the Wii U, like they upped it and all that shit. Like I figured all those would come to Switch. I figured they'd remake Ocarina, like remaking Ocarina of Time in modern graphics. You'd sell fucking 50 million
money.
copies.
Yeah, I mean that's a great answer because you're right. Nintendo probably could pivot their game plan into we are going to remake some of our classics.
Yeah,
They
remake
have the
of
source
Ocarina of
material.
Time from the ground up. It is it's four, that's not 4K, but 1080p HD. What the Switch can do, like they'd be printing money.
Yeah.
But the thing is with Nintendo is I feel they just I don't know if it's their bandwidth, but they just don't commit to a lot of projects. They
No.
have like these safety nets where it's like, okay, we know Breath of the Wild 2 is gonna sell like fucking millions.
Yeah.
We know this is gonna do well. We know this new Pokemon is gonna sell millions, and they don't want to take a chance on like, hey, what if we just like potentially start this franchise and remake it, or go to this old game? It's like, well, we could just do this other thing that's guaranteed,
Yeah.
and they don't take risks like I feel PlayStation does.
They take
or-
risks, but they take really small risks.
And weird risks.
Yeah, risks
but
that
they don't.
like
Yeah, they don't take risks like a big company should,
no,
like
they,
Microsoft.
no, Nintendo does do stuff, but like it's so small that like unless you are following Nintendo based news media, like it's tough. Like they don't even show it on their own store.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
but
forgetting the name of it, but there was some SNES game that got like a remaster and put out on the Switch, and like it came and went, and the people who loved it loved it. It was the one where you play God. I don't.
Oh, ActRaiser.
ActRaiser, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a Nintendo like
Yeah.
endeavor that just happened.
Nobody gave a
But
shit.
it wasn't. You're right. It wasn't big budget. It wasn't like, hey, this is the greatest thing from 1999 in today's graphics.
Yeah.
They just don't do that stuff.
I think their IP is just so on rails that they don't have to, though.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, okay, here comes the new Mario, here comes the new
Yeah,
Pokemon, here comes
also-
well, it's not their IP, but still, it's on their platform.
Yeah.
Here comes the new
also,
Zelda.
Nintendo has they iterate on what they already have, and it's been working for them.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I mean, they've really never remade stuff, really, except for like the HD, like Wind Waker and Twilight
Just
Princess,
yeah, just
which was
just
weird.
Have they? I mean, I guess remake isn't like ground up. We're starting over.
reimagined. How about that? They haven't really reimagined
They-
things, except
they've
for
been-
Breath of the Wild. But I
Yeah,
feel,
they've been rumored to be remaking Metroid Prime 1 and 2 for,
Oh, boy.
6 years, so
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, they've announced Metroid Prime 3, guys. It's coming.
4.
4. Jesus, they made a third one?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
It was okay.
All right.
is that a Wii one?
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Oh fucking hell!
Should send it to die on the Wii, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ted, you make a great point, though. I'm curious how much more remaking is the future of video games.
A lot. It's just like movies. Like how many movie remakes do we need or movie reimaginings
Yeah.
do we need? Especially with this year that come out. There's like 4 Pinocchios coming out. There's
Awesome.
so much stuff. Was like once IP is out there, and that's what I'm wondering. It's like a lot of these patents are gonna fall off in 20, 30 years
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of this strong IP. Are we gonna see a bunch of studios like come in and grab and remake everything that they're from their childhood?
Yeah. Well, we saw that with like 3D platformers. I mean, Spyro got remade, Crash,
Yeah.
like a lot of that stuff kind of was really pumped into it.
Actually, yeah.
Ratchet and Clank.
Those are Activision has been doing that
Yeah.
to a certain
Yeah.
extent. I guess.
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore,
Well,
but
actually,
we'll
they
see.
still
We'll see.
can. Yeah.
We'll see with Microsoft.
I think
yeah,
they still can.
Tony Hawk was remade
Yeah.
to great success.
That was
Yeah.
great. Fantastic.
But I would still put all of those in the category of like, in order to play some of those games, you'd have to go back and buy a PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Like those were not easy to get. Last of Us Part 1 with the PlayStation 4 is very easy
You
to
can
get.
buy the remastered version of the PS4 remastered version on the PS5.
Right.
Like it's
Right.
it's available on the store.
I think you're selling me on that. You're gonna see so much from old studios catalogs just
Uh-huh.
come out of the woodwork
Yeah.
and be remade, especially if it gets
And-
easier. Like
yeah,
I think if it gets like more streamlined.
I think it will get more streamlined simply because we now know to save our assets.
Yes.
Just on that fact alone. But my thing is like, if I were to learn, not everything's a teachable moment, but if I were to learn something from this, it's that like if you feel like you've missed the train, don't worry about it.
It'll come back.
Don't buy The Last of Us right now because the next one's coming out soon.
I think the trade is always like you have one studio who hits the mark, and then you have 10 other studios that come in super late, like with all the space games that are coming out.
Yeah.
And like before, it was like a lot of zombie games that would come out. It's just there was always
It's
a
that
studio that's
cyclical wave.
very late, but they will come out.
Yeah, like
with
my
something.
my kind of just go-to thought of like, oh man, I kind of want to go back and play Dark Souls, the first one. I would put down some money that like there will probably be a Dark Souls remake pretty soon here.
Yeah, Demon Souls
Like,
remake.
Demon
FromSoft,
Souls.
yeah, Demon Souls was remade. FromSoft just made more money than the gods you kill in those games. Like,
Bloodborne.
I could see it.
Have you seen how much Elden Ring has sold? It's like past
I've not.
17 million copies.
Yeah.
Dang.
Holy fuck. Sorry to interrupt.
That studio is one of those like you invest for life in. I feel, especially when they release something like Elden Ring. To follow that up though, like
follow that up, you just remake your classics. You don't.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
You don't.
True. I think
yeah,
you don't poke the bear on that
or
one.
Or you make Bloodborne too.
Same thing with The Last of Us 2. You make a great game that wins a ton of awards. The first thing you do is don't make Last of Us 3 and bore people.
You make
with
a
more
BR
of the
Last
same.
of Us.
Yeah.
You just go back.
That's true. That's what they're doing, Ted.
That's what they're doing, Ted.
All right. Well,
that's true.
You doubled.
No, but you go back and you just like bring the catalog up with you.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of this obviously is the show, but it just has me wondering, like, is this our future?
And see, I think that's like measuring The Last of Us, like the time between the first game and this full blown remake is really skewed because this is really because of the show. Like the reason that this is there is because Naughty Dog wanted to learn the architecture of the PS5, and Sony was like, great, you guys are helping us make this fucking show. Let's also just have this game out there now so everybody's caught up. But like, you know, like I said, like that's the only reason this is there. Like I don't think in 2027 they're remaking God of War unless there's a God of War TV show coming out
which is going to be amazing.
Months. Yeah, there is going to be a God of War, a movie or TV show. It's one of those. They're making a Horizon TV show on Netflix. They just like signed those rights. So Horizon Zero Dawn is going to be on Netflix.
Horizon Zero Dawn remake is going to be on PS5.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, probably. So I think that is kind of the one thing that like kind of skews this conversation just about The Last of Us is that like it's really a marketing thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and we touched on it briefly, and I guess we won't know this definitively, but The Last of Us Part 1 for PS4 is still for sale on the PlayStation Store, PS5, PS4. And there is no plans to take that away.
No.
Because that is the other side of this coin of like if you bring the franchise up with you and remake it, remaster it, you know, on newest consoles, do you then take it off the PS4 store at some point and force people to come along with you as you bring it all forward?
I don't think you do, because I think you have that almost like the history of it. Like you can also replay.
History doesn't make money.
But it doesn't take away the money. In this case.
I guess
it could though. It could though. Because it could distract from like, there's actually this cheaper game that I could buy.
I don't know. I doubt the PlayStation 3 store is still alive, but like,
it's not.
No.
If I was wanting to play Last of Us on a purely cost-saving measure, and maybe we should forget that discs exist because you could probably buy a disc for $5.
Yeah.
But like, could I just buy the PS4 version of The Last of Us Part 1 for cheaper?
Oh, right? Sure. I'm looking it up right now. Actually.
Like, is it a big enough difference?
I'll sell it to you for $10.
Ted, I'll give it to you for free.
Yeah.
I want you to
You know what, James? You pay me.
All right. Wait, do you have a hard copy?
Yeah, I have a hard copy. Not of part 1, but I have a hard copy of the remastered and the original. Okay, so you can buy it for $20 on the PlayStation Store. You can also subscribe to PlayStation Plus Premium. I don't know what tier that is, but it's one of those tiers, and it's in there, in the classic catalog. So
yeah, I could save $50 if I chose not to go for the remake. Now we could talk about graphics are important.
Yeah,
a lot of people won't go for that. This isn't really for people looking to, but like that's my like looking into the future of like, do you think the PS4 version just goes away and then suddenly there's just the PS5 version?
No, and I don't think it does, because I do think PlayStation as a brand knows that like their history is somewhat important to people. I mean, they fucking made the Smash Bros. Clone. They get that people love their characters. PlayStation Battle Royale.
Can you still play the Smash Bros. Clone?
I bet it. Oh, ooh, no, probably not. It was a PS3 game. It was a PS3 Vita game. Yeah, it was a Vita game.
Well, we've entered into this new era where like you can't announce the PlayStation 4 store is shutting down.
Yeah,
because it's so integrated, and like same thing. You can't announce that the Xbox One, the Xbox One store is shutting down because
Ted,
it's all
are
the
you talking
same.
about the first Xbox or just kidding?
No,
Yes.
but like you know what I mean. Like
Xbox
they
One
shut the
X.
PlayStation
yes.
3 store, like ended, like it
Yeah.
closed. They were like, we're done. We are moving on. But like we
Thank
now live
God.
in this interconnected world where like you can't just shut down the PS4 store,
Right.
which means that if you want everybody to like move forward, or if you feel that not enough people are, start cutting some of the older.
Stuff off the store.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a whole different argument about what Sony's going to do with their
Yeah, and
massive
this is
catalog
not
of stuff. But
this is not solely a Sony. I mean, it kind of is a Sony issue because Microsoft has Game Pass, which just says fuck it.
well,
Yep.
and Microsoft has just a 360 game just available on Game Pass and gets that's what you want to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like we are games are becoming a service. We've been talking about this for years. And part of being a service and not a product is that if you want it now, you need to pay for it now at now's prices.
Right.
And you're not going to get late, or you're not going to get before prices or graphics.
Right. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
And
it's
to
interesting.
just totally go out there to smoke our podcast weed pipe here.
Ooh.
This just came into my head and I want to talk about it. Do you think we could ever live in a world where you purchase The Last of Us for $80 and it's just the most recent version of The Last of Us, and that's it? There is no previous versions, but you will always get the most up-to-date versions, and then they'll come out with another remaster that slightly improves the facial graphics.
And you get it for free?
And then, I don't know. I didn't thought that far ahead. But like, do you think we live in this world where like the games just always come with you?
No.
No. Yeah.
They will constantly need a new product
It's
to
not.
sell you.
Yeah.
Nintendo releases a new console and you buy games that used to be on old consoles on that console, and then they go, all right, it's a new console, new store. You don't get to take any of your games with you.
Nintendo doesn't count.
Okay.
We can't bring them into this.
I don't know. I think we're in new territory. I mean, we really think about like console wise, we are in very new territory with everything you have on PS4 works on PS5. Right. I mean, Xbox was able to do it a lot quicker, and they've made everything you've ever owned ever on an Xbox console available. But like, this is pretty new territory, especially for Sony. You know,
and that's similar, like, you know, just like Steam, like any PC game ever.
Right.
Basically.
Right. I guess this whole conversation is about Steam.
Yeah, I think if you're tied to a service though, like with Steam or with any of these, you're bound to that service. So if you
and to counterpoint Steam for a second, because this kind of leads into what I've been playing this week, but Steam doesn't guarantee that games will come with you. I've been playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, 10 out of 10, one of the best games ever made.
All right, we don't have to talk a lot about that one later.
And but that original Steam copy is not officially licensed for Windows 10, and they have no plans on moving it for Windows 11. They're selling a remaster, and that works on Windows 10 and Windows 11.
So you just 11, like won't be able to use it past Windows.
Yeah, but the OG version, people have said they're gonna, like, the community is gonna do it, but the official company will not be supporting the original Steam version of that game.
Ted, I recommend Open RC2.
We don't have to get into it. I know all about Open RC2. It's fantastic. Oh,
okay.
Beautiful.
Okay. That's so funny. Any final thoughts on kind of this conundrum we all find ourselves in?
I think
I'm good with.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're happy with it, but I think Jake's kind of thing where everything just integrates into your TV is the future, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, we know that Xbox is doing that very soon.
So your library, imagine if you have like an Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo TV in the future at some point.
You'll have out of it.
Yeah, Nintendo won't be there, but you'll have apps for PlayStation.
Yeah, apps for all those.
And you'll have
it'll
your
probably
weird
be
Nintendo console on the shelf.
Amazon Prime gaming app, your Xbox app, and then hopefully a PlayStation app.
Did you ever stay at a hotel where they had like a TV that you could play like Nintendo 64 on?
Yeah, they had those like weird ass Nintendo 64 controllers.
Yeah, it was like integrated within the TV.
My parents never paid for it, but I saw it.
Yeah, you had to pay for it.
Yeah,
I saw it.
It was very rare that I convinced my parents to let me use that.
Yeah.
It was expensive.
James, what have you been playing this week? Anything interesting?
I've been played up like a speed demon.
Nice.
I just unlocked the last dish.
Ooh.
Stir fry is the last dish.
Okay.
It's fantastic.
It's
nice. Hard, but it was fun. And then I just touched Gloomwood, which I mentioned earlier, and I didn't think I would like a stealth Thief game, which is more like I like stealth games, but I don't like it when it's just only stealth.
Yeah.
And this game isn't only stealth, like Thief. It has like these little puzzle and also stealth mechanics with it, even though it focuses on that. But
I mean, that sounds like
the
Thief.
yeah, but it has what's called it's an immersive sim.
Yep.
And it has these elements to like what's going on? What is the story here? Why am I doing this? And it's very early access. I think there's only a couple chapters out, and that's how New Blood does this. They release
have they
chapters.
called it an immersive sim?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I think I actually like immersive sims. So
Yeah.
I immerse myself, and it has
You
this
immerse yourself
very
in an immersive sim?
yeah, it has
Well,
this
then
very dark mood, kind of like
am I wrong?
Bioshock.
Did you play Prey?
Yeah, I play Prey.
Bethesda's remake of Prey?
Yeah, I love
Talking
Prey.
about remakes.
That wasn't a remake,
Yeah.
Ted. That was a semi-sequel that they just had to name Prey for marketing
It was
purposes, okay?
Yeah. It was spiritual, but not in the Native American sense.
Yeah, it just feels
Unlike
like
unlike the first game.
Sorry, my point is that's an immersive sim as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It feels like you are part of like the world, and it kind of reminds me when I used to play like old Riven or Myst or those types of games where you just really immerse yourself in the world, and that's what this game is. It's not too hard, but it's like, whoa, what's this over here? Oh, what is this? What can I do here? What does this do to this? And you can pick up objects like Half-Life. It has that little feel. It feels great.
James, what is compelling you to play this early access game rather than you usually notoriously don't like early access?
Because New Blood only does early access.
Okay.
So they have Ultra Kill, which is still in early access, and they don't ever come out of early access. So this is like these games don't release. What they do is they start early access and they just keep releasing chapters. Okay. So it's like a Tales type of game, as I would say. It's like they make a game and then they release chapters. They don't ever come out of early access.
Like,
so that's why I feel like I have to just play it.
Dusk is out of early access.
I think that's their only one, right?
Interesting.
I believe so. All of their games.
All right, so
they have like 3 or 4 in the works, and they are all going to be early access.
That's so funny.
Yeah. It looks like they have 3 games in the works that are all considered early access.
Yeah, so it's like
kind of abusing the system, but also
they are abusing
the system. If it works, it works.
But yeah, Ultra Kill is 2 years old, so these games will never kind of come out, and Ultra Kill still like gets. So I can't wait like 4 years for this game to finish.
That's so great though.
Yeah. But the studio's great. And like they actually released their game early on early access because they didn't want to compete with the Cyberpunk whatever they were going to release for that. Actually, you don't release it tonight.
So Cyberpunk had a DLC for like an anime tie-in DLC, and then they're releasing a big content DLC late next year, right? Early next year or something.
Yeah. I'm excited for the Cyberpunk show. Kind of curious about it.
Yeah, Edge Runners.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Arcane, that League of Legends show just won a shitload of Emmys.
I need to watch that.
I know.
I watched some stuff from it, and it's like the animation looks so good.
Yeah.
I originally didn't care for it. Just didn't want to watch it because I didn't care about League of Legends, but now I'm kind of like, maybe I should.
Yeah. It's good,
they have a Dota show, and they have this League show, and I've seen all the Dota show. So I feel like I gotta watch League.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious.
The Dota show is like Castlevania.
Okay.
Didn't Maddie like that show?
Yeah, Maddie really liked Castlevania.
But then we talked about like if she wanted to watch the Dota show.
She was less interested in that one.
No, it's not. It's way too like you have to know Dota.
Yeah, she went off
versus Castlevania. Yeah.
Ted, you were just playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 2?
No. So Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, they remade it in 2017. It's on your phone. If you haven't downloaded it for phones, it's that game and it's great. No, I've been kind of on a management sim kick. And I've put a couple of hours into 2 Point Campus. Came out.
Oh, 2 Point Campus, yeah.
Yeah, it came out kind of at the end of August.
On Game Pass.
On Game Pass.
Yeah.
Made by 2 Point, company that made 2 Point Hospital, which was remaking
1 Point Hospital.
No. It was a Sony, I forgot what it's called. Sony made a hospital sim a long time ago. 2 Point Hospital. It's a spiritual successor to that.
Is it called Hospital, and it's like dogs running a hospital?
Thank you so much for watching the Side Escape Gaming podcast. No. Anyway, it's a sim where you design your own college campus. in kind of a goofy, cartoony way. I went into it with a lot higher expectations than I think I should have.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Um,
Did you play
it's
2 Point Hospital?
I did not. That's
Okay.
why I wanted to check this out.
Yeah.
And I was kind of ready for a lot more of just a world below me interacting with itself, like a college campus might. It's not that. It's much more simplistic. It's kind of like, you build the classroom. You put the teachers in the classroom. You set up the room so that you get a lot of like bonuses for doing stuff. And then what you do is you click basically go, and then you start the school year. School year lasts, I mean, you can change the time, but it lasts like 15, 20 minutes. And then at the end of the school year, you get kind of rewarded based on how your students did.
Okay.
And the whole time you can be building stuff and changing stuff. I demolished the bathrooms,
Good.
and nobody panicked and just rebuilt them somewhere else. But I was really hoping for a lot more like interplay between students and just kind of stuff happening as I clicked on stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really there. I honestly thought it was a little bit kind of boring.
Okay.
They seem to be doing a lot. They seem to be very heavy-handed in like the jokes. Like all of the classes are like not real classes. Like there's like medieval studies is just jousting. And like they have a class called like Scientology, as
Oh
like
boy.
Oh
yeah,
boy.
or maybe it's
This has been the
Scientography.
Side Escape Game
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah, they have
My
and
poodle
they have,
joke's
like,
not looking that bad anymore, guys, huh?
No.
no, they have like you can have your students major in VR, which is kind of fun.
All
Oh
right.
boy.
But that's like a haha joke, and then it's it, and then
Yeah,
they
you're
just
done.
do the same thing that they do. So I thought it was a little content light, to be honest. I didn't really find it to be that challenging. Like
Gotcha.
there wasn't a puzzle to solve or anything like
It
that.
was just
So
like you did the thing and then it goes and then you do the thing
exactly,
again.
you just
Yeah.
do the thing, and then it goes exactly the way you think it does, and then a little pop-up goes, "You did it."
That sucks.
Um,
How much did you play?
So I've played through the first. There are like I believe it's 5. Maybe there's more secret worlds, but there are 5 worlds, and then there's like a star ranking.
Okay.
And you only need 1 star to move forward. But I stayed and I completed the 3 stars for the first one, and I'm working on my 3rd star for the second one. And like I said, I've been playing this game for like almost 6 hours now, and just haven't felt any kind of challenge. You still get into that management sim rhythm of like, well, what if I put the dorm room over there, and then they can get to
Yeah.
class faster? And like, you don't need to do that. I could have just hit fast forward and just won
It
by
just
time.
happened.
But I was just like having fun with it, and so that little like self-made project was fun. But there was no penalty for doing that. Like I demolished the dorm room to build a new dorm room, and my popularity stayed the same.
Huh.
Nobody died due to lack of sleep or anything like that.
Interesting. So not a
Well,
recommendation at all.
It's on Game Pass, so I would definitely say check it out. But I was pretty underwhelmed ultimately.
Makes sense.
You-
And I was kind of waiting for that, like, oh, this is where the game gets started, and that just
Didn't happen.
hasn't happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Jake,
Yeah.
so sorry to just butt it here, but
Yeah, please.
I know you've been playing Last of Us.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, have you checked out the game that released on Game Pass that's basically people were saying is a Breath of the Wild clone or like ripoff? Phoenix
No,
Rising?
this is
Phoenix?
the Ubisoft game that I've
Yeah, the
wanted
Ubisoft
to
one,
play
yeah.
this actually, and I'm
It's
excited.
it's on Game Pass. As I was wondering, like
No, I'm gonna check it out. It's been on my list, so for
yeah.
free.
Also,
I'm definitely...
Dreamlight Valley, Disney's Dreamlight Valley, also on Game Pass.
Ooh, all
How do you
right.
feel about that?
Do I get to hang out with Lightning McQueen? Then I'm in.
I think I think you do some quests and you I don't
All
know.
right, and I get to hang out with Lightning McQueen.
Yeah.
No, I do want to play. I want to play that Phoenix Rising or whatever it's called, the Ubisoft Greek Breath of the Wild clone.
Immortals.
Immortals
Rising, I
Phoenix
guess.
Rising. That's what it's called. What a bad name.
Oh boy.
Yeah, no, I want to play that. I actually restarted Elden Ring too, just in my spare time. So
Oh yeah, you're telling me.
I did New Game Plus on Elden Ring and kind of did no build. I'm like way over leveled though, so I'm like I beat Margot in like the first try, like by like a landslide. So it's like it's super
Bro,
easy.
that's just because you're good at the game.
Is that what it is? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
True, probably.
I'm like
You just
I'm
know.
not even dodging. I'm just fucking running in there. So and I beat Dark Souls 3 recently, which was I'm gonna be honest kind of underwhelming compared to Elden Ring. So
You were telling me about this. You were saying like, wow, I just
yeah,
blew through it.
Ted, I got
I was
to this
like, I'm already
point.
at the end.
I got to this point where I was like fighting this boss and I was like, huh. And I looked up, I was like, holy shit, this is the final boss of the game. This is weird.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
I mean, they have to up the difficulty with every game to appease their long-running fans. if you get in at the most recent game, you're probably getting in at the most hardest game.
Right.
Margot's a great example. That boss is designed to teach you
kick
really
the shit
quickly.
out of you.
Yeah, like
I
the
love
way he pauses with his attacks before coming down, you learn a lot of rules really quickly about how to play. So then going back to like a Dark Souls boss where they just go up and then go down, you're like,
I get this.
I know that.
Yeah.
Like,
But we talked about it. It's like you could either face it 100 times or you can go and explore the world,
That's why
which
Elden
that wasn't
Ring
a
is
thing
so
really
good.
with old Dark Souls.
No.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. And that actually is kind of encouraging. Not that I'm good at Dark Souls or Elden Ring, and at this point I don't think I'm going to beat it.
You never even became an Elden Lord.
I never became an Elden Lord. But going back to the other games, they might be more doable.
Yeah, it makes me want to try Bloodborne because that's the one that like I've really liked, but then reach a point where I just get my ass kicked and I don't want to play anymore. So
yeah.
So
what about Demon Souls? Have you played Demon Souls?
No, but I think I'm going to now too because I have the remake. It came with my PS5.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
So like the disc came with my PS5, so I have it and it looks real good. That game's stunning. So it'll be one of those.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching the 107th episode of the Sidescape Gaming Podcast. That's Ted. That's James. I'm Jake, and we will see you next week.